Hello everyone and welcome back to All About Steph 1 with me, Steph. I'm back in my OG location and today's video is all about the 2022 driver lineups, and so I'm going to be predicting what I think they're going to be, as we have 10 contracts which are expiring at the end of 2021, so the grid could be shaken up a little bit. But firstly, I have a request. I am planning for an upcoming video and it is all about what is World Championship material. So I would absolutely love it if you could help me out and write a comment down on this video or send me a message on Twitter or Instagram letting me know what you think or what your opinion of World Championship material is, what you think it takes to become a world champion in Formula One, etc, etc. Just your general ideas on the topic, and if I like them or if they're different, I will feature them in an upcoming video. So yes, please do that. Thank you in advance, and let's get on to the video. We're going to get started in the video with the lineups that aren't changing because the drivers are on multi-year deals. And let's just start off with Haas, who brought in an all-new lineup for the 2021 season in Mick Schumacher and Nikita Mazepin. So both of these guys are F1 rookies and they are both on multi-year contracts with Haas. So that is definitely a lineup that is going to stay the same for at least the 2022 season, if not beyond. The next team that have secured their lineup for 2022 already is Ferrari, who have Charles Leclerc until the end of 2024 and Carlos Sainz until the end of 2022. So for at least the 2022 season, that is the Ferrari lineup, and yeah, there's not really much more to say, so we'll move on to the final team, which has already secured its lineup for the future, which is McLaren. They secured their current lineup of Daniel Ricciardo and Lando Norris for at least the next couple of years when they extended Lando's contract in May. Both of those drivers are on multi-year deals, so they're going to be the future of McLaren for the foreseeable. But those are the only three teams that have currently locked down their driver lineups for now, so there is definitely a lot to play for with the other 7 teams. Anyone could go anywhere, well, not anywhere, but there is definitely a lot of moving around and swapping about that could be going on. So we're going to start off with Mercedes, as there is always a lot of rumours surrounding them. And we're going to start off with my predictions, and that is that we're going to see Lewis Hamilton in the team alongside George Russell. So I do believe that Valtteri Bottas is going to lose his seat. He did mention that he was trying to get a contract extension last year of 2 years, but Mercedes would only allow him 1. And I definitely think that that is because George Russell's contract with Williams would have been coming to an end, and Mercedes would have definitely wanted to get their driver in, get their junior driver in, alongside Lewis Hamilton, who is a 7-time world champion, to gain that experience and learn at the top team where he definitely deserves to be. So that one is quite cut and dry for me. I do think that we're going to see George in the Mercedes alongside Lewis Hamilton, and although there have been a lot of rumours that Lewis Hamilton will be retiring, I don't buy into them, and I do think he will stick around at least for a couple of years into the new regulations. So that is my new Mercedes prediction. I feel like it's quite similar to what everyone else is predicting, but yeah, I'm just going out there. I think where there's smoke, there's fire, and we're going to see George Russell in that Mercedes. So obviously, if George Russell is going to be in the Mercedes, then there will be a vacancy at Williams. So we're going to talk about Williams now. Nicholas Latifi is on a multi-year deal, so he is secured for 2022. But who will Williams bring in to replace George Russell should he go to Mercedes? Now, I did a whole video on this with Cassidy from CCF1, so that is linked up here right now, and it will also be in the description in case you want to go and look at the in-depth discussion that we had. But I do think that Williams has quite a lot of options that he could potentially exploit. They do have an extensive junior academy with the likes of Dan Ticktum, Roy Nissany and Jack Aitken in them. So those are all good bets for being able to get into the car. Jamie Chadwick was also a junior driver for Williams, and she's a development driver. So Williams genuinely have a lot of options that they could potentially put in this seat. A lot of it will be down to super license points, because I don't think that Dan or Roy or Jamie have enough super license points to basically be in the Williams as of yet, but it depends how the Formula 2 season progresses. So the lineup that I've gone for Williams in 2022 is a lineup featuring Nicholas Latifi and Jack Aitken. I just think that Jack is a really safe option for Williams right now. He's well integrated within the team. We haven't seen the best of him, and definitely his performance at Sakir was not his best performance that he could definitely have pulled out. So I'm expecting good things from Jack Aitken. He's back in Formula 2 this year, so we shall see, but that is what I've gone for Williams. Speaking of junior academies, we are now going to move on to Alpine, and they have secured Fernando Alonso until at least the end of 2022 with an option to extend his contract to 2023 if he so desires. However, Esteban Ocon is out of contract. So will he be renewed, or will Alpine bring in someone new? Well, there were a lot of rumours that the Flying Frenchman of Pierre Gasly would be jumping into the Alpine and escaping the Red Bull family. However, those rumours have died down recently, with Helmut Marko saying that he's secure in AlphaTauri, and then being a lot of rumours that Esteban Ocon will be re-signed for Alpine. Now, Esteban Ocon has been actually performing really great at the beginning of this season, and especially at the end of the 2020 season, where he managed to pick up that podium at Sakir. But we can't discuss Alpine without discussing their juniors as well, because they have a lot of juniors in Formula 2 right now. Guan Yu Zhou is currently leading the Formula 2 championship, but unfortunately there doesn't really seem to be anywhere for him to go. So are Alpine going to promote him? We shall see. For this one, I have gone with a lineup of Fernando Alonso and Esteban Ocon. I don't see them wanting to get rid of Ocon, the Frenchman, the French driver with the French team. It just fits very well with the Alpine image. It will be a little bit unfortunate for the Alpine drivers, the junior drivers, because they are very, very talented. Potentially Oscar Piastri will be able to do another year in Formula 2, because this is his first year, and so he's got a little bit of time, potentially, and could maybe jump into the seat left vacant by Fernando Alonso when he decides to finally move on. But for now, I do think that Alpine will maintain their current lineup. I think it's working quite well. Unfortunately, Fernando Alonso hasn't been performing at the level that I think we all expected him to be performing at as a two-time world champion. But it seems to be working for Alpine right now. It seems to be the direction that they want to head in. So I'm going to go with a lineup of Fernando Alonso and Esteban Ocon for 2022. Alright, so I guess it's time to rattle through all of the A-named teams, and we're going to move on and talk about Aston Martin, who have Sebastian Vettel on a multi-year contract at the minute, so he will be there for 2022, but Lance Stroll's contract is coming to an end. Now, I feel like this one is quite straightforward. Lance Stroll has been performing very, very well, but as the son of the owner of the team, it seems almost comical to say that he wouldn't get to keep his seat. I do genuinely believe that Lance Stroll deserves to renew his contract and deserves to keep that seat, regardless of his father and regardless of his ownership of the team. I think he proved himself really well throughout the 2020 season and has been proving himself at the beginning of 2021 as well, while that car has been a little bit difficult to drive. Honestly, I think he's well integrated in the team now, having been there for a few years. I don't see any reason why Aston Martin would want to change up the comfortable relationship that they have with Lance Stroll and Sebastian Vettel being in there now. I think it's working really well. I think the lineup is great and could definitely be positive for Aston Martin, and I don't see them necessarily wanting to rock the boat and change that. So I'm going to stick with a lineup of Sebastian Vettel and Lance Stroll for Aston Martin, and I think this is probably the safest bet. I'm 100%, no, I won't say 100, I'm 99% sure that this will be the lineup for Aston Martin. Next, we're going to move on to Alfa Romeo, and this one is my favourite because both of the drivers' contracts are coming to an end. So Kimi Raikkonen and Antonio Giovinazzi are going to be out of a seat at the end of 2021 unless they can sort something out in their renegotiation. So it leaves us a lot to play with, the fact that there will be 2 empty seats at Alfa Romeo, and one of them is usually reserved for a Ferrari Junior in Antonio Giovinazzi currently, and the other one reserved for whoever Alfa Romeo chooses, or maybe someone from the Sauber Academy. Personally, I think this year we're going to witness the end of Giovinazzi in the Alfa Romeo seat. Regardless of whether he outperforms his teammate, I think that Kimi is a much more valuable asset for the team. So if they were to retain one of their drivers and potentially bring in one new driver, I think the driver they would want to maintain is Kimi, because he has so much experience over a 3-decade span in Formula 1 that he would definitely be able to help so much with the development of a car and fine-tuning it, and definitely helping understand the new regulations. So the lineup that I've finally gone with is Kimi Raikkonen and Robert Schwartzman. I was really tempted to put Callum Isler and Robert Schwartzman, but I genuinely don't know if they will have Callum over Kimi if Kimi wants to stay. And of course, if Kimi doesn't want to stay, then I do think that Callum is the next best option, and we will see a Callum Isler, Robert Schwartzman lineup. I'm just really obsessed with the idea that I think Kimi wants to stay to see in the new regulations. So I think he's going to want to stay, and I think Alfa Romeo will let him, and they will bring up the Ferrari Junior of Robert Schwartzman. I think that Robert Schwartzman is potentially the most talented Ferrari Junior that we have right now, even in comparison to someone like Mick Schumacher. So I don't think that Ferrari would waste any time in trying to promote him, regardless of whether he wins the title, because I think he'll still be involved in the title fight, but he's a talent, and I think Ferrari will recognise that and try and bump him up to Formula 1. Now, I haven't put Teo Pourchaire in the lineup because I do think he will benefit so much from another year in Formula 2. I personally don't think he's going to go on to win the title, even if he does have a really successful year, and so I think that Fred Vasseur would actually notice and understand that Teo could definitely benefit from doing a little bit more time in the junior categories before he gets brought up maybe the year after. So now we've made it to the final two teams on the grid, the other Alpha team in AlphaTauri and also Red Bull. And we're going to talk about these together because I feel like their fates are very much interlocked. Max Verstappen is the only driver out of those four drivers who has a contract extension, and his extension goes all the way to 2023, so he's most definitely going to be at Red Bull for a while. He's recently come out and said that he thinks he'll spend his whole career at Red Bull, and I honestly don't disagree. I think it's the perfect place for him. I never ever bought into the rumours that he would be alongside George Russell at Mercedes for 2022. I just never could see it happening, so the fact that Max is staying and recognises that that's the place for him is great. The other three seats in the Red Bull Academy are points of contention though. The seats are currently occupied by Yuki Tsunoda and Pierre Gasly at AlphaTauri, and Sergio Perez is in the second seat at Red Bull. Now, we know that Red Bull have a history of promoting their junior talent really early and them not being able to cope at the big team. But I don't think Red Bull is going to do that with Yuki, and unfortunately, it doesn't look like Pierre is going to be getting a second chance at the big Red Bull seat. Now, it might be naive of me to think that Red Bull have learnt their lessons about promoting talent too early, but when I look at how all of the Red Bull drivers are performing and how Red Bull might perceive them performing in terms of the Constructors' Championship, I think that Checo is 100% the best option. Even if we bring Alex Albon into the situation, I think if you pair any of the four drivers against Max Verstappen in Sergio Perez, Yuki Tsunoda, Pierre Gasly and Alex Albon, I do think that the strongest driver alongside Max would be Sergio Perez, and he's already demonstrated that by picking up a race victory, something which a Red Bull second driver hasn't been able to do since Daniel Ricciardo in 2018. So I genuinely think that Red Bull will keep hold of Sergio Perez alongside Max Verstappen for the main team for the 2022 season. But let's talk about AlphaTauri. So it's really interesting actually, because Helmut Marko's recently come out and said that Pierre Gasly will be with them at AlphaTauri for at least the next couple of years. And I do think that he's been performing so strongly in that midfield and working so well with that AlphaTauri machinery that he has just been absolutely excelling. However, we know that that AlphaTauri seat is for Red Bull Juniors. So could there be a Red Bull Junior that gets bumped up into the AlphaTauri seat? Personally, I'm going to say no. And it's not because the Red Bull Juniors aren't talented. We have Liam Lawson, Yuri Vips and Jehan Daruvala currently in Formula 2, and they're all great drivers. I think the driver that will be closest to jumping up into Formula 1 is Jehan, and that is because he's been in Formula 2 for a couple of years now, and he has been performing pretty decently. So I do think that he could potentially be in that seat, but also I've never seen him jumping up into Formula 1, and that's no disrespect to Jehan. I just have never seen him as a Formula 1 driver, and I don't know what it is, and I couldn't explain it to you because I'm trying to right now, and I'm failing miserably, but I do not think he's at the caliber of drivers like Pierre Gasly and Yuki Tsunoda. So I do think that it serves Red Bull a lot better to maintain that relationship with Pierre Gasly and Yuki Tsunoda in the AlphaTauri team right now than trying to bring up another driver who might potentially not be at their level. I hope that Red Bull have learned their lesson in terms of promoting their talent too early. I think that one of the issues that we have is that it seems to be a constant cycle of talent, that you get about a year to prove yourself, and then if you don't prove yourself, you're out. Whereas I don't think it's necessarily going to be like that anymore, and maybe that is the optimist in me, thinking that Red Bull have turned over a new leaf in terms of their treatment of junior drivers. But I could be absolutely kidding myself, and we could see Yuki Tsunoda in the Red Bull in 2022, Jehan with Yuri in the AlphaTauri for 2022. So honestly, I could not predict what the Red Bull Driver Academy is going to do, what Christian Horner, what Helmut Marko are planning, and I've given up trying to see into their brains for a long time. So I am going to stick with my predictions of Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez for Red Bull, and Pierre Gasly and Yuki Tsunoda for AlphaTauri. But I could be entirely wrong and way off base, and I wouldn't even be surprised. But anyway, that is all the teams. We've come to the end of the video. So let me know if you agree with me down in the comments down below. Let me know if you disagree and who you would put where. Don't forget to let me know what your opinion of World Championship material is, what traits, qualities, records, racing career stats define what could potentially be a world champion in Formula 1. So I can't wait to hear all your thoughts. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, leave it a like and subscribe down below if you've not already. That is very important. I will see you in the next one. Bye!